Hey, this is Coach Josh here, and I'm going to give you a in-your-face, super high-level, 50,000-foot view, all the way down to the 1-inch view, the worm's eye view, to quote my friend Jocko Willink. We're going to go over mindsets, strategies, and tactics about nutrition because I want you to burn fat, build muscle, and feel good this year. And I want to create a little bit of clarity for you, and I want to make it simple, not scientific, but simple. Now, talk about a lot about the Warrior 20 and grains to greens and eat. We have a lot of these idioms and these ideas to get you to think to eating the right foods, but people often don't know where to start, and that's okay. That's normal. I want to give you a mindset to kind of frame up what we're trying to do here. And then we're going to talk strategies, and then we're going to talk tactics, so how to actually make those strategies work for you. So the mindset, and we always talk about mindset because without the right mindset, the tactics don't have context, and the strategy won't work if your tactics aren't on point and being leveraged correctly. So the mindset is the long term is the short term. What you do well and do correctly for the long term will actually benefit you more in the short term. If your long-term goals are lined up with your values and your mission, and your short-term goals are going to be lined up with your long-term goals, and everything has congruency, and everything is there's fewer seams, there's fewer tripping points to get caught up on. So for instance, if I value my health long-term, if I want to feel good and in a holistic sense, have long-term energy without the need for caffeine and supplements, and if I want to be healthy at 60 and 70, not just healthy at 30 and 40, then I have a long-term view. And then if my short-term tactics reflect things like binge eating and doing a crash diet where I don't do any sugar for 2 weeks. And we'll talk a little about that because we use all kinds of different strategies here at Training for Warriors. But I want to make sure that everything that we do is built with the long term in mind, so that in the short term we're not living in hell and we're not making mistakes, picking the wrong tactics, and getting poor results. We'll get a little bit into that in a minute. But mindset number one: long term is the short term. Everything we do is thinking long term. Now the strategies for getting yourself onto a plan, onto a program that gets you to consistently cut weight, unnecessary weight. Lean out, burn fat. There's 5 big things that you need to do, and actually maybe there's only 4 because we might repeat. But number 1 and number 2 go together hand in hand. Tracking and planning. So to some degree we do this in one form or another, and it may be functional, because choosing to not make a plan that's your plan. Your plan is to not have a plan. But tracking and planning, people can get carried away with this, but all I'm saying is that you need to know what you did today, and you know what you're going to do tomorrow, what you want to do tomorrow. And it doesn't mean you have to go into such extreme detail that you have every calorie accounted for and every gram of sugar and fat planned, and everything is packaged in a meal prep container and sealed with a vacuum seal so that you don't get anything in there. All you have to know is, do you have an objective for your eating, your hydration, your recovery plan today or tomorrow, and what are you doing today? So a lot of people talk about tracking tools like MyFitnessPal. There's pen and paper versions. There's all kinds of apps and software to if it fits your macros, or eat this much, program some numbers in, you get some numbers out. Great. I think that's totally fine. The most important thing is to not get overwhelmed. If you're somebody who has comfort in details and you want to have that information, great. We're going to go over some basics about what should be in each day to get you started and how to make adjustments. But the big thing is, use as much detail as you need to be successful in your planning. I just need to know, do I have protein and vegetables in the meal? Everything else, I'll figure it out. If I need less rice or whatever, I'll just kick it off my plate. If I need more, I'll go out and get it. It's fine. but like I need to have the healthy sources of veggies, fruits, and protein. I need to know where they are. I need to have them all ready to go, because that's what I worry about. If I don't have that, I'm not going to be on track. So know what you need to feel confident in your plan, and then track your adherence to the plan. That's number 1 and 2. Tracking, knowing what you did, and then planning, having a plan for the day and the week. Because if you're trying to wake up every morning and hope that you eat the right things and you don't have a plan, you're gonna be 50-50 or worse. So number 1, number 2, tracking and planning. Number 3 is measuring. Not measuring your food. We'll talk about tactics in a second, but measuring yourself. So what are you measuring to know that your plan is bringing you the results that you want? So you can get on a great meal plan and you can be eating on it, but you won't know if that's the right or the wrong plan unless you take measurements. And luckily, if you're working with me here at Training for Warriors, and I've got you on our bioimpedance InBody, we're measuring how much muscle you got, how much water and fat. We're really dialed into the numbers so that when your program can be adjusted subtly. But if you're on your own, or you're afraid of the measurements, that's totally fine. You got to measure something. So maybe it's you're stepping on a scale. If you don't like numbers, fine. Look at your energy levels. Look at like how you feel and how your clothes fit. Like you have to have some sort of even if it's a subjective to some degree sense, but taking some biometrics on yourself. And there's your energy levels, focus, clothes fit, sex drive. Those are all things that can sort of cue you into how you're feeling, how your training and nutrition is helping you. So you're measuring. So tracking, planning, measuring. And stage 4 is adjusting. Rule number 4 is adjust. So when you've tracked, planned, and measured, I like to measure. We weigh in everybody at least once a month here. But if you're on a weight cutting plan, or your weight management is something that's important for you right now, maybe you're measuring every 2 weeks or maybe every week even. It depends on where you're at and what you're focused on. But you look at your measurements, whatever length of time that you're measuring, and you see, am I getting closer or further away? But if you measure and you're closer and you're not tracking and planning, you don't know what's working. If you measure and you're further away and you're not tracking and planning, you don't know what to change. So it's why it's important to track and plan. So if you're doing your tracking, planning, and measuring, then the adjustment's simple. So with the goal of burning fat in mind, so my goal is to cut some weight. When I come into the gym and I weigh myself and I see that nothing has changed. My body fat's the same, my lean muscle's the same. I'm going to, in order to increase the amount of body fat that I lose, I'm going to adjust my vegetables or my protein. So those are my main sources of calories. I've got some heuristics back here, but if I want to lean out, I genuinely know that the more greens I eat, the leaner I get. So I'm going to add in vegetables. I have a long list of low carb vegetables that are high in fiber and lots of different vitamins and minerals. The thing is the more vegetables that you eat, the more insulin sensitive that you get, which just means that you store less fat, you build more muscle, and you store less fat. So I want to get that. So I want to eat more greens. I want to eat more fruits and vegetables. I want to eat enough protein to keep myself able to build muscle and keep the muscle I have. But I'm trying to I'm going to make as few changes as I can to get to the next level. So I make my adjustment, in this case, add a serving of vegetables, and then I go back to planning, tracking. 2 weeks later, I weigh in again and see what my plan's doing for me. So we've gone tracking, planning, measuring, adjusting. You do that long enough with the guidance of a coach, with your trial and error plan, whatever meal plan, you're going to win. Now it's just a matter of the details and the pieces to the puzzle. What details matter? So we've got mindset, long term. The long term is the short term. Strategies, tracking, planning, adjusting, measuring. Now we're going to go tactics. What are we adjusting? How are we going to tweak the program? Now, there's things that you can change. How much water, how much sleep matters too. Protein, you want to get between 20 and 40 grams. If you're a big person, and you have a lot of muscle and you need to maintain it, you might need 40 grams of protein per sitting. If you're, scale it down. If you're, 100 pounds or you're a smaller person, then maybe 20 grams is right for you. And it's different. It'll be different phases of your training. So just know that these are heuristics. These are meant to be adjusted within a window. But like a baseline, if I'm like to use an example of someone, if I'm a 65-year-old woman who's 100 pounds and 5 feet tall, no problem. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the edge of these, the inside edge of this window, and I'm going to start there. And if I take my measurements, I track, I plan out my meal. I have 20 grams of protein, 15 grams of fat, 75 grams of carbs, and then, maybe not 10 servings of vegetables, maybe 8 servings of vegetables or 7 servings or whatever. And then I'm going to see how close to that I get, and then I'm going to pick one variable to adjust at a time. So I plan out to have 3 meals a day, so 60 grams of protein per day, 45 grams of fat, 75 grams of carbs, 10 servings of vegetables. I do that, and then at the end of the week I weigh in and I see what my body's doing with that, and then I make my next adjustment. And then maybe I just adjust protein. Oh, I lost weight and I lost muscle and I lost fat. Okay, good. So the calories are low and we're losing muscle. So what do we want to do? We want to make sure that we increase the protein, not by a ton. So 5 grams of protein. So now I'm doing 25 grams of protein per meal, and I'm going to make that adjustment. And I look at the measurements and I see what has to happen. So I make these small adjustments over time, and you get there. If you're not getting results, then you just adjust down, or maybe increase the amount of vegetables. And you measure again in a couple weeks, and you take your next adjustment. But again, this only works if you're tracking and planning. If you plan your meals and then you get tired of your meal plan on Monday or Tuesday and you're not sticking to it, this isn't going to work. So the most important thing is to create a plan that's so easy, it's easy to adhere to. And then just check off the amount of days that you stick to the plan. As long as you get 85% of your meals in the window, you're on plan in my book. So like 15% of your life can be happy hour and cold pizza, but you have to stick to the plan at least 85% of the time to get consistent results, and that's going to help you make adjustments and eventually win. So we went from the 50,000 foot view to the worm's eye view. The issue between like where you are and where you want to be is getting stuck. Oh, like my work schedule is crazy, and I can't stick to 3 solid meals a day planned and mapped out like that. Okay, what can you do? Can you do a super shake in 2 meals? Can you do a meal and 2 super shakes? Can you do Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a little bit different, so maybe you're just going to do a couple of smoothies in the morning. But whatever it is, these are the questions that you need to ask yourself, and then take your questions to your coach, your coaching program, whoever you're working with. If you're working at TFW with me, then shoot one of our coaches the questions so that you can get the results that you need. I hope that system was clear enough, and I hope that you got some answers to something you were looking for. And if you need some help, please let me know. Shoot me an email, just respond to this, whatever you want to do, but don't stop until you get the answers you need so that you can take your foot off the brake and bring out the warrior within.